biggest escalation since those March raids on Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. We are now hearing that federal investigators are preparing to possibly bring witnesses in front of a federal grand jury in New York City. What we have heard is that in front of a federal grand jury in New York City. What we have heard is that possible witnesses have been notified that they could be called to testify. Now, sources do caution that investigators are still in the process of gathering information. In fact, they are still calling in new witnesses, and they have called in some witnesses multiple times. We also hear that the majority of the accusers who have filed these civil lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs have been brought in for questioning, and again, some of them being called in numerous times. We hear that many are cooperating and even handing over evidence that they feel could be relevant into this federal probe. Now, a spokesperson for Homeland Security did not respond to our request for comment about the presence of a grand jury, but they did confirm that this investigation is presently ongoing.
And Elizabeth, what are you learning about the evidence that investigators could be reviewing here?
So, as I mentioned, those federal raids that were conducted on his homes back in March, obviously a lot of people wondering what was seized. Well, we are learning now that federal investigators are in possession of video footage that was taken inside of Combs's residence. We hear that these investigators have been contacting individuals that they have seen on this footage. One person, in addition to the accusers who have filed these civil suits, is a male sex worker. That is what a source tells me, and that they have been brought in for questioning through these federal investigators. Now, when the raids first happened, we had a law enforcement source tell us at CNN that the investigation was largely based in sex trafficking, which is what HSI specializes in. Now we are hearing that that scope has been widened and that investigators are really looking into all of these claims put forth in these civil lawsuits. That would include not just sex trafficking, but also money laundering and illegal drugs. I have a source who tells me, quote, "This is much bigger than just these lawsuits."
Now, we all know that P. Diddy is currently in hot water. What goes on in the dark will certainly come to the light. And that's what we've seen with the video and current allegations of hip-hop mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs. Federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs before a federal grand jury. Two sources familiar with the probe tell CNN, signaling the U.S. Department is moving toward potentially seeking an indictment of Combs. Possible witnesses have been notified by investigators that they could be brought in to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City, according to one source. Bringing individuals who have filed civil lawsuits against Combs before a grand jury would mark a significant escalation in the government's ongoing investigation involving the producer and Bad Bar Records founder. Now, Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits since November, 7 directly accusing him of sexual assault. One of the 8 lawsuits filed by former girlfriend Cassie Ventura has been settled. Now, another lawsuit accused his son Christian of assault, and Sean Combs is accused of aiding and abetting. Now, a spokesman for the Homeland Security Investigations Agency, which is the HSI, declined to comment on the existence of a grand jury, but noted the investigation remains ongoing. Now, one source said investigations are being thorough and taking their time to ensure that an indictment, should there be one, is bulletproof. Grand juries comprised of ordinary citizens are critical tools used by prosecutors, providing both an investigative function in approving the subpoenaing of documents and witnesses, and a vote on whether to criminally charge suspects. The use of a grand jury signals a particular case has moved beyond the preliminary stage, where investigators generally assess whether possible violations of the law are believed to have been committed. Now, with this being said, let me know what you guys think of these current allegations. Is P. Diddy going down the same street or highway that R. Kelly went down? One thing leads to another. The saying goes, when there's smoke, there's oftentimes fire. And based on this video with him and Cassie and the brutality that he forced upon her, I wouldn't be surprised by any of these allegations that are to come, and if he's found guilty. The statute of limitations are long gone with the incident that occurred at the LA hotel that's since been closed down. The statute of limitations are gone. That was in 2016. But based on these new allegations and everything that may come down the pike, P. Diddy could be looking at prison time. And if he's found guilty, if the facts are the facts, then so long. May God have mercy on his soul. Again, let me know what you guys think. Always strive to remain set apart. Take care. God bless.